such an asshole.
How you kids doing? ASOconsulting.com. Banging it out here today. Don't know why I'm in a good mood. I got good sleep. Hey, Cappy, return customer here. I recently got a job as a driver with multiple popular delivery apps. One thing I've noticed time and time again is the openness of multiple relationships with married couples. It's always the housewives that are all used up, sucking off daddy warbucks while openly cheating and sleeping around with some younger. Why are you getting like the porn scenario where like, oh, pizza delivery? Oh my god! And she's like got a negligee on, and it's like 2 PM, long cigarette stem, that kind of thing. This might be common. This might be a common Florida thing, or maybe it's due to the advent of social media. But regardless, it comes back to why the f do these people get married? I don't know why people get married. We've proven we're not responsible enough to handle it. These broads, old school. These broads I was driving around today were trash talking their husbands, and one was talking about a religious video on YouTube. One was talking about a religious video on YouTube her husband made her watch. It was some woman talking about how wives need to step up and be submissive, support their husbands, just basic wife stuff. This broad with the he was Frank Sinatra. This broad with the makeup and fake tan was just like, F that. He's my husband, not a baby. He didn't come out of my vagina. Just trashy women. Yeesh. I dropped all three of them off at a bar so they could get drunk. Yeah, look, I'll say it again. This isn't, it's adjacent or supporting of your general question or premise here. You are seeing now with white collar work and technological advances and the welfare state, when women don't need men, you now get to see their effective interest in it. And marriage is just this, it's an anachronism. It's like your gallbladder or whatever that outdated thing you don't need. It's a holdover. And it's very recently a holdover. So we still go through the motions, but you could see these women absolutely not interested or care about their husband. If anything, it's a thing to have. They may. I'm wondering what percentage of gals get married that are just doing it out of mindlessness, like out of instinct. Like you breathe without thinking about it. How much of that is just unconscious, just genetic instinct to get married? But then when the reality comes, like, I watched your live stream today, and with the divorce of down low booty boy Crowder, it just adds fuel to the bonfire that this is a failed institution of marriage in the Western world. I think you throw in the government intervention. I think it is obsolete given the technological advances we have had. And especially the welfare state. Yes, it is obsolete. I lived overseas for many years. While you have trashy, lying, cheating women in every country, I find those type less common abroad. Georgia, Turkey, Romania, Lithuania, Poland, Italy all have beautiful women that would put American women to shame. You also have mid and ugly women who would make better wives and girlfriends compared to Americans. I'm not a picky man. I've turned down some fine-ass women in my life, and I'm average looking. These American women are absolute trash, though. Same could be said about, oh, interesting. All right, you have traveled. Aussies, Canadians, Brits, Kiwis, and South Africans. Very interesting. So the Anglosphere, I believe they call it. Whatever. Was that like what Britain once conquered? But India, curiously, not being in there. I should know. I used to party with them when I lived overseas. Anyway, I don't mean to get lost in the sauce. I turn a certain age this year. I'm about to graduate with a useless associate's degree, just something to fall back on if my particular other field doesn't work. I'm a veteran in good health. My finances are top notch because I'm single. I go on vacation to a South American country next month as a graduation present to myself. Maybe I'll get some high mountain hoo-ha in a particular town in that South American country. Long email. I know. My question to you is, do you think it's worth finding a wife overseas and bringing her back to the States? Why'd you title this polyamory? I've seen foreign women. Oh, that's right. Your story was about that. Women become Americanized once they've lived here for a few years. Or should I just be a passport bro for the rest of my life? All right. So let's go back to the polyamory. With the advent of white collar work and technology liberating us that we no longer need each other, and especially with the welfare state, you get to see women's true interest in men. Part of the true interest is also their true nature. It's not as high as you thought it was, because beforehand they needed you, so they had to put on a nice face. Now it's liberating in a certain way. We all get to figure it out, but you also get to see women's nature, and it is more polyamorous than you might have seen. And we kind of already knew this. Everybody wants to bang other people. That's human nature. Women too. It's just that in order for society and families to form and move on, we kind of reined in those desires. Now, I still don't think women are as polyamorous as men. However, what you are seeing is that because of disparate sex drives, meaning different sex drive, disproportionate sex drives, women are able to pull off a harem much more easier than men. There are some men who could pull it off who are good looking and make a lot of money, as it was back in the day, but that was transactional. Here, without any transaction, they don't need you. All right. So now it's got to go based on pure sexual attraction. Women, maybe not as much as men, they would prefer to have sex with multiple people, maybe not all at the same time, but so they're gonna, you go on, you see it. Now, the difference though, here in the States and the West is whether, this is why I called it LARP versus nature. What you see on the television, especially when they, oh my God, woman lives with 5 guys, and it's always a woman has a harem. When you see that on publicized, it's always some hideously ugly people. And the reason why is that's LARPing, right? These guys are not going to get sex from any other woman. And one I posted there, that was very popular a year or two ago. I think they ended up having a kid. I think there was even some murder happening in that. Don't quote me on that, but I think there was an assault because obviously men got jealous. So what you got to be careful is not to assume that that's the real face of it. That's just a bunch of losers. Like, no different than, it's the exact same thing. And it's the exact same thing as what 20% of Zoomer girls claim to not be straight. That's their identity. If you look at those, look at anything that's publicized about, oh, look, a family that's polyamorous, it's always ugly people. It's always. And the reason that they're willing to go public with it is because that's their value. That's their identity. Oh my God, look, I made it to the front. That was their peak, because they made it to the front page of several news magazines. In the real world, how it happens in nature is what you saw when you were driving or Ubering or whatever it is you were doing. The girls are cheating on the sly. Guys might be doing it too. All right. The girls really don't like their husbands all that much, thus bringing up, why would we get married if this is the attitude and all that? But once again, once we no longer needed each other, you are actually allowed to be your core and natural self. And that increasingly so is what we're seeing to be their core natural self. Maybe not as crass talking as you were talking. I mean, yeah, if you're taking these drunk gals to the bar or whatever, some are going to, but no, it is nature. And here in this country, you're allowed to pursue your nature. I just wish we wouldn't do this marriage thing anymore and like hold it. Well, I want, have your cake and eat it. Well, I want the traditional husband. I want the wedding. I want the family, but I want to go be my natural self. But it's like, no, you can't have both. It's not possible. So with that, now, okay, here's the true nature. Now you've seen it. It looks like you got a lot of experience. Looks like you've traveled around. Yes, if you want to have a wife and kids or a family, it's not to say there aren't quality women in the United States. They're here. They're just very few in number. And you're right. They have an environment that, I mean, the women here who want to be stay-at-home wives, traditional, they really have to be truly independent-minded agents, which is exceptionally rare. And say, no, I don't care what that says. I want the kids and we know several. There's oh, I can't remember her last. Rachel, she wrote the book on the occult of feminism. You see some of the gals actually having 3 kids. I know one couple up in Utah. I don't even think they're Mormon, but they have like 3 kids and they work. And so they have to purposely choose that, like, no, that's what I want. But the environment here, not to mention our economics and our technology and the political environment, feminism being shoved up these poor girls' asses from the age of 3 on. They even got books called Baby Feminism. It's like, geez, you can't even wait for it to be a year old before you got to indoctrinate it with this crap. Like, let it poop its pants a little bit. Can't even crawl. Statistically speaking, where to deploy your time and research and efforts to find a wife. Yeah, you're going to have to go overseas. So that should be part of your, keep your eye open here. You see a cute girl, ask her out. I'm not saying don't take your shots here. But yeah, if you want to make quicker work of it, you're going to have to go overseas. And then you don't need me to tell you this. It, every guy has said this. You don't bring them back here. I didn't come up with that idea. I didn't come up with that observation. This is just me taking in information and advice from the experience of other men who have gone overseas, sometimes bring them back here. I do know one friend of mine. He's now on his 5th mail order bride. Surprise! You bring them back, they're going to take advantage of you. Also, just so you know, you're probably more aware of this than I am. When you go overseas, it's still traditional. This isn't right or wrong. It's just this is the tradition. Well, if you're the man, you're supposed to kind of take care of the girl. And more modernly, you're supposed to give money to the family. That's where I draw the line, because that's like, oh, we're going to get those. I'm sick and tired of American men being suckers and the world screwing you guys over. But you guys, oh, but pussy. Her family just didn't do well enough. You know, I got to work. No, too bad. I guess it sucks being a second, third world country. I guess it sucks to be you guys, and you should have worked more, done something different. But no, the white boy ain't taking care of your second, third world extended family. It ain't happening. That's where I would draw the line. But you are expected to take care of the woman. All right. So you got to kind of be careful, even if you do go over there. There's scams. There's people like, if you know, they'll, I don't know, get a kidney or something. If you don't pay the family, they're going to make it hell. And the girls, a lot of times, are even more wedded to their family than they are to you. So it's not just passport, bro, and go over. There's other cultural risks and issues. But to find a quality woman, yes. And it sounds like you've traveled a lot, so you know. I mean, there might be a shot. I'm going to assume you're at least American. You'll have more culturally in common with the European countries you listed. Romania, Poland, whatever else you said. Asia, nothing against Asia. I just don't know. You're going to South America, you know, and a lot of it, 85, 90% of it is going to be the girl you meet. The extenuating circumstances is the only other 10%. So, but no, I mean, kind of passport bro for the rest. If you want, and here's another thing. If you want to raise a family, absolutely do not raise them in the United States unless you're going to homeschool. And if you don't have time or the money to homeschool, well, then yeah, I'd be going to a culturally traditional. I'm not joking. Go to the Middle East. You may not agree with Islam. You may not agree. They may hate you over there. All right. You may be the great Satan, but they got rules. There's traditionalism. There's not people pooping in the streets in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. It's definitely traditional over there, and they at least protect their families more than they do here in the United States. So yeah, I mean, you got to start thinking of your kids if you do want to have kids. But if you just want a wife, I don't know, travel the world, but just never bring her back to the United States. So you can visit very quick. Like, no, we're getting out of here. There it is. All right, let's go to the super chats. If we have any. May not have any. I gotta go do my thing. Perfect. We don't. All right, that's it. I don't think I have anything linked below except Asshole Consulting. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.